Welcome back, everybody, to Brutally Honest Reviews, only on the Brutally Honest Network. And today we have a very special episode for you. We're recapping 2018 and our best movies, our favorite movies, I should say, of 2018 that came to theaters or streaming or otherwise were released for the first time in 2018. And this is a special episode, and it's a particularly exciting episode because there were a lot of good movies this year. As always, I feel like, but this year we had a little bit of a strong influx of movies. So let's start it with Rob down the line. Rob, what was your initial take on this year, and give me some of your favorite movies this year?
Overall this year, I'm going to say there was a lot more bad than good, I would say.
Yeah.
I mean, there were definitely still a lot of movies I liked and enjoyed. A lot of disappointments for me personally. But my favorites of the year, I'm going to give you a top 5 because I couldn't narrow it down in no order. Annihilation, Infinity War, The Green Book, Upgrade, and A Quiet Place.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a healthy
I like
list.
sci-fi.
Yeah.
Love sci-fi.
Nice.
Love horror.
Into it.
Two favorite genres, actually.
That's a good variety, actually.
Yeah. I feel like
So-
everything of mine is the same except for the first one.
Before we move on, I want to touch on a little bit on those movies. Why did you like each one? Briefly, why did you like each one?
Whew. Annihilation was just so much different than anything I've ever seen before. And it looked amazing. The shimmer in the movie looked great. I thought the acting it wasn't anything spectacular, but they did their jobs what they needed to do. And it was just so much different from anything else I've seen. It was a great sci-fi movie, I thought.
Was that Natalie Portman?
Yeah, that was the one with Natalie Portman, Tessa Thompson. Who else is in it?
Jennifer Jason Leigh.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was like the doctor.
Yeah, the one with
that
cancer.
was kind of leading the
Yeah, she had cancer. That's why she wanted to go in.
Yeah.
And then
She'd be great.
Yeah. There were other people, but I don't remember their names. This movie came out in like February.
Yeah.
Infinity War was just a huge build-up, 10 years, 22 movies that led me to that point. Thought the action was good. Story was good. A little bit too many characters at some points, but overall I really liked it. The Green Book was probably the best acted movie I've seen all year, and so much funnier than I expected. It probably had my 2 favorite performances of the year as well, with Viggo Mortensen and Mahershala Ali, or however you pronounce his name. I thought that was great. And Upgrade was also one of my biggest surprises because it looked horrible. But I still wanted to go see it just because it's a sci-fi futuristic action movie. The blood and gore was great. The acting wasn't anything special, but I overall really enjoyed watching that movie in the theater. Mainly because of such a huge surprise it was. And A Quiet Place, I can't think of a negative thing about that movie.
Solid.
Acting, the writing, the action.
John Krasinski.
Yeah.
I think the sound design in that was the highlight.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah.
And the use of silence. That's not to interrupt, but that's the one movie I really wish I saw in a theater this year, because I think, the tension, everyone collectively holding their breaths in that movie
You could hear
would have
that,
been an
too.
experience that you won't get watching at home. And I wish I had the chance to see it in the theater.
You'd
It was one of my best theaters.
You'd be surprised how respectful the theaters was
Oh,
that
yeah.
I saw, because I saw it a couple times.
Oh, yeah.
You know what'd be fun? Take an HTV Vive and view The Quiet Place.
That'd be
virtual
creepy.
reality.
I would love to.
That'd be cool.
I would love to do that.
That'd be
Oh,
pretty
me
cool.
too. That would be fun.
What did you just do? I'm going to go do that.
Blew your
God.
Well,
mind.
we'll see. I might buy one.
Oh, shit.
I kind of want to buy it to just play lightsaber tricks and stuff.
That'd be pretty cool.
I see my buddy Alex Stinson doing that on Facebook.
Amazing.
But yeah, is that all the movies?
Yep, that's my top 5.
All right.
In no order.
Me now?
Yeah.
So in general, I don't know. I'm not a snob with my movies, but I kind of am. Like, I like older movies, so I was majorly disappointed by a lot of things this year because I feel like a lot of it was just like people trying to, cash in really quick on, books or like Slender Man, which made my fucking list. There was just so much. Not this one, no. There's just a lot of disappointed, half-assed films, I think, which is super disappointing. A lot, I feel like people use names over actual quality actors who could have probably done better in certain roles.
Yeah.
But with that being said, my top 4, because I had 3 and then I added 1, in no particular order, is Bohemian Rhapsody, Hereditary, sir, A Quiet Place, and
that's on my list too.
Searching were my top faves of the year. Bohemian Rhapsody, I think just because the casting of that was fucking insane. Yeah. Whoever did casting deserves a raise. And I enjoy Queen a lot, though inaccurate.
Oh, it's extremely inaccurate.
Very inaccurate. If you're someone who knows it, I wasn't particularly bothered by it because I do know the legit thing. If you're ignorant and think that that's how things happened, you're wrong. But it was a beautiful movie. I feel like Rami Malek.
Yeah.
He was fantastic, and everyone was fantastic in their parts.
Rami Malek.
Shut up. Moving on.
He'll never come on the show now.
What a shame.
I enjoyed Hereditary a lot. That was the first podcast I was on for this, where I defended the shit out of that movie. I just really liked it. I feel like everyone was creepy besides the wolf kid who cried too much. I personally liked the demon-y stuff in it. I feel like it was spoopy and I liked it.
I feel like that movie didn't know what it wanted to be, though. It was like a demon possession movie, a haunted house movie, like it was almost a little bit like Rosemary's Baby, and I liked all of it, but it didn't like land on any of these things. Overall, I liked it.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of people who just shot it down way too much because you didn't want to do your own research about Payman.
So there were a lot of movies this year. There were a lot of movies this year that edited their trailers in such a way to draw people in the theaters.
I loved this trailer.
Brilliant marketing.
I loved the trailer.
I mean, you can love the trailer. I thought that there was just a lot going on, and that what the trailer was given was not what the movie was about. And had the trailer been a little bit more about what the movie was about, I would have enjoyed it more. But because it kept leading us in this different direction, it was kind of like confused as to what I was watching. There was like a lot of stuff going on, a lot of really visceral images that I did like, a lot of things that I did like about this movie that really I gave a little bit of a lower rating because I didn't understand where they were going.
Yeah.
But I still think it's a quality movie. It's actually on my list of movies that I misjudged.
Wow. Okay, I take back being rude to you then.
That's like rude to me.
I knew of Peyton. No, that's my niece. I knew of Payman before this film, so I think I went in and I was like, fucking cool. Like, I already knew some shit. But A Quiet Place, because I just want to be Emily Blunt so bad. And John Krasinski's beautiful. And sound, I've had nothing but horrible theater experiences this entire year.
You have.
Yeah.
Nothing but horrible experiences.
You've had opposites.
Oh my goodness. Even in like the one I think we were in the same theater for Searching. We were. Yeah, and there was an old woman next to me. I was ready to end.
Hey, John and Sam.
Yeah.
Bye, John and Sam.
Yeah, you were in front of me, and I feel like we both had different experiences, even though you guys were in front of me for that. But, like, anyway. Everyone, I feel like, was super respectful for it, so I was able to get into it and not so distracted because I get very easily distracted by, like, disruptive behavior in the theater because I need shit to be quiet because I like to, like, look around. And sometimes in movies, it'll be something you hear that you're supposed to hear, but not everybody's like, oh, did you hear that? Like, you're going to miss something. And for this, everyone was really, I feel like everyone was anxious because, I don't know, it was an anxious movie. When she stepped on the nail, I still get nervous to go downstairs.
Oh, God, yeah. Oh, that scene.
But everyone was so great in that, so that's that. The second I saw it, I was like, that is a top choice. And then my last one is Searching, because I do enjoy that kind of film. I feel like Unfriended is kind of whatever. Hate the first one. Really like Dark Web.
Call it Screen Life now, right?
Yeah. Something.
Something like that. I actually just saw that 2 days ago. I crammed it in before the end of 2018.
I like kind of forgot about it until I went back and saw what we reviewed. I was like, Searching was fucking awesome. Yeah. It's definitely not for everybody, because not everyone likes that sort of like first person looking at your own screen type thing, but I really do like it, and this took it in a more serious side of way rather than Unfriended, which Unfriended I will give that it does bring, you know, important subjects to the table while making it obnoxious, like bullying for the first one. And, you know, Dark Web, while that is a legit thing, they did make it a little whatever with, like, the glitchy guy, but I actually really did like Dark Web, and I didn't put it anywhere on my list, and I'm upset about that. I'm still not going to add it, but, yeah, those are my favorites.
Awesome. So I had 4 favorites, but I added a 5th in Searching because I forgot about Searching completely.
So great.
So leading off, I'm going to just come off of your review of Searching and say that was a very well done film. It was a film that was done in an unorthodox way, you know, with different methods, you know, using webcams, using security cam footage, all this different type of stuff. A lot of filmmakers are kind of trained to not like something like that because it's kind of going outside the norm. But like when you have writing that's good, when you have editing that's good, everything came together for me. The acting was great.
What did you think of, was it John Cho?
John Cho.
Because I was listening to an interview a couple weeks ago that he really resisted being in the movie because his agents, he tried to pitch him this movie, and he's like, this doesn't seem like a movie. It doesn't seem like a script to me. Yeah. And he had the director had to meet with him a few times to convince him to be in it. So he really resisted. And I thought that was kind of an interesting story, but I didn't know from what you thought of his performance. Because he wasn't even sure if it was a movie when he finished when he rapped on it. He was like, I don't know what I have here. So I thought that was interesting.
He played such a good nervous dad.
Yeah. He was pretty authentic. Like, he did a good job of taking the role that was given to him, and you know, when he signed on to I didn't feel any kind of like regret during his performance. I think he put his all into it. It felt genuine. It didn't seem wrong. It felt like a real father going through this real, you know, I don't know my kid. I don't really know how to approach her to see, you know, how to make sure things are all right. And when things kind of spiral, you know, we see like you know, as you know, as being a parent, you must know when things kind of go crazy with your kid and you don't know what's going on, you freak out.
Yeah, it scared me because I realized where the internet's going to be in like 6 years from now or 7 years from now. And I have a 7-year-old, and like if it's so easy for them to create this life on social media that I'm not even going to be on. I mean, I know Facebook, I know Twitter to some degree, and a couple of social media platforms.
But you don't know what they're doing.
You don't know what they're doing, and it definitely got me thinking. Oh God, what's coming down the line?
It's terrifying.
It is.
My own family, and I'm not going to name who. My own family, like I've actually ran into like problems with like my own family. Younger kids in my family using the internet in a way that it really shouldn't be used by someone so naive. So like it is a scary thing. It really kind of begs to ask the question, should we be teaching our kids social media in school, which I think is definitely where we should be going, but nobody's talking about it. But Searching is a great movie to check out if you want to, you know, see this movie. It's a great message. You'll become self-aware. Don't get too caught up in this movie. Don't go to the extent where you're preventing your kid the life that they need to live on their own. But at the same time, it's like you really do got to just keep like a untrained eye.
Yeah. Know the signs and shit.
So that's Searching for me. I thought that was great. The next movie for me is also on everybody else's list so far, Quiet Place. One of the most expertly done movies this year. The sound design, incredible. The acting, incredible. The pacing, incredible. There's not a bad thing I can say about this movie at all. It was perfect. It was Signs meet Anxiety.
Yeah.
I would say that. It was Signs if it had you on the edge of your seat the entire movie. But the sound design was incredible. It really was.
Yeah.
And again, John Krasinski from The Office is going to have a whole new set of roles after this movie's come out.
I love him so much.
Which is exciting.
Well, they want him to do a sequel already, but I think he's already kind of resisted. Like,
no, it's done.
Is he going to do it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He is? Because he's like, I think, well, it won't be about him, but...
No.
But there's definitely more stories to tell in that world.
Absolutely.
So I just hope it's not like diminishing returns, though. Because that's what worries me. It's going to be like something with a colon and, Quiet Place,
His reluctance...
New Horizons or something. I don't know. But I just wanted to maintain the quality.
His reluctance gives me hope because I don't think that he would have signed on to a sequel if he didn't have complete creative control.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I feel like this would go
optimistic.
way to Mad Max real quick, where it would be because there's a lot in A Quiet Place that felt very real, even though they're crazy creatures. Like they were smart in what they were doing, and I feel like when it ended and. Didn't she like have a gun and she was just like, and I'm like, is this gonna become some like explosions, badass, gonna fight aliens and everything? If they do a sequel, I want it to be just as smart as the first one. I don't want it to get way too lost in the whole fantasy side of it. So that's what I feel like if that's why he was like, let's pump the brakes for a second, then I can respect that because I can see it easily go.
Someone died.
I can see it easily going in that direction, and that would upset me so much if it did.
I'd hope they pick up from where the first one ended, which would be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would love to see how Emily Blunt is just fucking everything. And what's
She's my fave.
the daughter's name?
I don't know. We talked about that. She has an actual hearing impairment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's incredible.
Yeah, I don't know her name.
The baby's still a thing, right?
Yeah. So
That was, I honestly, the second I saw that they had like oxygen tanks with this box with a lid,
smart.
like this, there was just so much, it was so nice to see something where like everything was kind of thought out, but it was still realistic.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, I don't know, I feel like there's way too many things where like, what do we do, guys? And like the things right in front of them that they need, like this was thought out, well executed. I love it. Love it. Love it. Love it.
So my other two movies I had on the list for best of the year were Green Book, as Rob said. I thought that Viggo Mortensen and Mahershala Ali were two of the oddest couples who in the end came together so well that, I don't know, I cried multiple times during that movie. It was such a great bonding movie between a southern black musician and a northern New York Italian
Guinea. Call him a Guinea. I can say you can say it.
Yeah. It was heartwarming without being too cliche or too derogatory. Like I didn't feel like they played off of the racial stereotypes in a way that was distasteful, which is a big thing with any movie like this. The characters were believable, and the plot was fantastic. The writing was great.
Yeah.
And then the other movie I had on my list is The Favorite, which nobody else had on the list. I know nobody liked it.
I missed my list.
No, I changed. Really? I changed my mind.
I thought it was just a biting comedy that I went with a group of my coworkers and nobody liked it.
Oh no!
But I thought it was one of the most wittiest comedies I've seen in years.
Same.
And it didn't make my top 10, but I was just blown away by the performances and just how evil it was, you know?
I changed my mind during that podcast, guys.
Yeah, nobody else liked it on the podcast, and I did change a little bit of their minds.
I thought of shit on my own, though.
I'm too stubborn.
But The Favorite for me, it merged flawless acting. I think the best acting all year from all three, from Rachel Weisz, from Emma Stone, and from Rachel Colvin.
Sure.
Yeah, the Queen.
The Queen.
Yeah, I can't remember, but yeah, all three of them were top notch.
Yeah, and the cinematography, amazing. The only thing I had a problem with the entire movie, was the fact that they used the lens with distortion for the wide shots.
I thought it was a bold choice doing that, but I kind of got used to it, and I appreciate the fact that they're really just trying to show us, how these people are living in these rooms in this world, and every single shot you're seeing the ceilings. It was very reminded me a lot of like Citizen Kane in a lot of ways, where you see these people in the foreground, but you see these wide expanse ceilings behind them.
They're living beyond their what they are as just humans, and they're letting the people who are in their kingdom basically starve while they party it up and decide the fate of everyone.
And it had a slow motion duck race.
That was so intense. Horatio.
5 stars.
Horatio the duck.
That movie was that. I mean, as so I'm just gonna say this, like, as a director and a cinematographer, that movie was something that, and I don't feel like I'm above anybody. I'm not trying to say that. just to be clear.
When he says that, it means.
Are you positive?
It doesn't. No, but what I'm saying is, as coming from like a writing perspective and an acting perspective and a cinematography perspective, that movie for me was like candy. But like to someone else, like, I understand, like, it's very slow burn. Mm-hmm. It's very boring if you're not really getting what you kind of expected. Mm-hmm. So it's not for everybody. But I liked it. What about you, Nathan?
I thought it was fantastic. Like I said, I went with coworkers that afterwards we were just talking, and they were just bashing this thing, and I'm just like, I don't understand. We saw different movies. It like I said, I just like the performances were fantastic. I just loved the writing of it. I think it's maybe my favorite script of the year. I just liked how these two women are like jogging for favor with the queen, and that cat fight, but it's all under the surface, and I just thought it was just a biting film that I just really appreciated.
Before we move on to your favorites, the director Yorgos Lanthimos, or whatever, however you pronounce his name. I'm sorry,
right,
we're not all from the same place. I get it. Did you see his previous film, The Lobster?
I saw The Lobster, and I saw Dogtooth. Was the first my first exposure to him. Yep, I really liked Dogtooth, although it was weird. And The Lobster, I was kind of mixed on.
Really?
Yeah, when I saw it one time, and I think it just didn't hit the mark with me. Didn't hate it. I just left kind of scratching my head. But I thought The Favorite was his most accessible movie of all of his. I did not see Killing of a Sacred Deer yet.
Is that also him?
That's also him. All of his movies up to now are had animal themes to them, until The Favorite.
Evan is gonna go home.
My mind is blown.
Because I saw over this.
So I saw To Kill a Sacred Deer this year.
You've mentioned that in other podcasts before. Yeah,
I didn't like it initially.
Yeah.
And then after the fact, after letting it dwell in my mind, I was like, all right, this is as a cinematographer, a lot of this movie made a lot of metaphorical sense. And then I watched it again, and I was like, I kind of like this. So I
want to see it. I haven't seen it yet, but I really, because I like what he's doing. I think he's made. I mean, I was gonna, in the full wrap up, say that I think the filmmakers that are working today, we're in a golden age of independent filmmakers that are on this scale of filmmaking. I think there's so many of them right now. The who just did the Green Book. But anyways, there's so many fantastic filmmakers that are not in the big studios right now. That I think this is you're seeing some amazing creativity come out right now.
I wish more people would check them out and understand them on a different level, other than just going to see the movies for Saw 500. People who didn't get The Favorite. I feel like a lot of people didn't get The Favorite, and this is not attacking you.
You're attacking me.
I just didn't like the excessive hand jobs.
Oh, this is true. Yeah, there was a lot of hand jobs.
It was well acted and everything, but you don't fucking need to.
You watched Spartacus,
but those hand jobs were necessary.
We were 4 straight.
Did you see
watching Spartacus?
She was way too unenthusiastic. It was too realistic.
Is this hits home?
Haunting memories.
Yeah.
But
I
Nathan,
hated the Queen's leg rub downs.
You mean you wish you were in that place?
I mean, I'd be the queen in that place. I'm not gonna want to give a queen a rub
The
down.
legs. But Nathan, what were your favorite movies of the year? Top 5.
Top 5. Well, I'm gonna save one of my top for maybe my biggest surprise.
All right.
But in that list was Black Klansman.
Yep.
Did we already talk about that a little bit?
No.
But okay, so I saw Black Klansman over the summer, and first of all, I think it's the best Spike Lee movie, and since Do the Right Thing, which could be maybe it's a bold statement. He's done some good movies, but I stand by that. I thought it was very funny. And I thought it was just a great social commentary. There's a lot of movies that came out this year that I'm going to talk about. Also, my top 5. Another one is Blind Spotting, which is a great companion piece to that. And the other one, Sorry to Bother You. This, we're in this post-Charlottesville world right now, where these movies are coming out with these amazing filmmakers, and I think it's just perfect timing for this to get the people to start thinking about the social commentary of the Me Too movement and the Black Lives Matter movement, and there's so much great films coming out that are commentating on this right now. And whether this was these movies obviously were written before Charlottesville, but Black Klansman does something, and I don't want to spoil it too much because a lot of people haven't seen it.
You can go ahead and
Spoil it.
Yeah.
But the very end of it shows all this footage of Charlottesville, and it's kind of didactic, but I think it's really important because you're watching this movie and it's funny, and it's got Topher Grace playing David Duke, which is a fantastic role for him.
Yeah.
But at the end of this, it just goes into this 3-minute like documentary on all this newsreel footage that happened there, and it just recenters you on the whole matter. I don't know, it's just a really had a big effect on me, and the performances were good, and the actor forget the main actor, but he is Denzel Washington's son, which I didn't even know until I got out of the theater and I was reading about it.
He's on an HBO show, Ballers, too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But everybody was really good. And there's an actor in there, I forget his name.
Who did he play?
He played one of the detectives, and
Adam Driver.
No, the other guy.
Fucking
okay,
love him.
first of all, I'm looking at this actor, all right? I'm like, he looks a lot like Steve Buscemi. And I'm like, that's not Steve Buscemi.
It's his brother.
But I go home, like, that's Michael Buscemi. Why the hell isn't this guy getting more character actor roles everywhere? He was fantastic in every single scene he was in, and I want him to be in more things because he is just great. Like, we need more Buscemi in our world, and there's another Buscemi out there that should be working more.
Yeah.
So that's what I have to say about Black Klansman. It was fantastic. So Blind Spotting is also my top 5, which I mentioned.
Talk about that one a little bit because we didn't see that movie because it was very, very, very limited release.
It was. I saw it in a small theater. Did not get a big release. It's another movie it's hard to talk about. It's basically kind of a buddy comedy, but it takes place in Oakland, which I don't know if you noticed. There's kind of an Oakland theme this year. Black Panther.
Yeah.
I think Sorry to Bother You was also was that also Oakland?
Oakland, Compton.
Okay, so they're at Compton.
Yeah, I think
That's not Oakland.
Yeah.
What's the other one?
Yeah, because he gets the job first in Compton, I think. No. That's no.
I thought it was. I think it is. Anyway, so it deals with gentrification of Oakland, which is another big thing that inner cities are dealing with. It's not just Oakland, but everywhere. And these two friends that grew up together, one's white, one's black, and it has a strong commentary on the prison system and crime. It's really timely, and I don't even know how to really describe it, but it's a fantastic film about these two friends that grew up and how they're trying to maintain their friendship in a Oakland that's becoming more gentrified. Yeah. Highest of recommendations. So,
do you know the leads in it?
I have it written down over here, but I can't think of it off the top of my head.
That's okay.
The two leads are also the writers and the producers of it. So it's a very personal story to them. So definitely recommend that. My other 2 favorite movies of the year were, let's see here. Now I'm drawing a blank, but I'm going to look for 1 second. I'm going to grab my notes because I'm like that.
That's okay.
Yes. You was already talking about Annihilation. Was my second favorite. Was my second favorite movie. We talked a lot about that already, but I back up everything that's been said on that. I think it's just a beautiful film. Just looks gorgeous. And I love the fact that it's a sci-fi movie that doesn't try to answer every question. Yeah. And I think that's really important. That's my favorite kind of sci-fi, is where it doesn't, it left me leaving I have to see this again because I want to understand more. And it made me want to look into more theories of it. And, one theory is that the shimmer is a metaphor for cancer. And I think that's pretty common opinion on it. But it envelops something, but it leaves a facsimile of the object behind in a distorted way. And I just ate it up, and it was such a unique film. So we talked a lot about that already. But my favorite film of the year is a documentary.
Wow.
And it's Won't You Be My Neighbor?
Oh, Mr. Rogers.
Mr. Rogers. Now, I'm a little bit maybe the elder statesman here. All right, I'm a little bit older, and I grew up with Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood in his heyday, and he was like a third parent to me. And I'm watching this film, and I don't think I've wept as much in the theater as I did with this, because seeing him being interviewed, and in light of where the world is today, we need more heroes like that out there. And it was watching the movie was like being covered in a warm blanket. Yeah. And I was 7 years old again. But it was also really sad because I realized, somebody like this is gone, and there's nobody that's really filling those shoes anymore. And if you're my age and you grew up with Mr. Rogers, and you want that warm feeling again, you got to see that movie. It is fantastic, and there's nothing really special about the filmmaking in it. It's very by the numbers, but just the subject matter. Such a fascinating person that they talk about. Well,
there's not many role models these days. I mean, Bill Cosby.
He broke our heart. Yep.
Yeah, that's a huge blow.
What's funny? Bill Cosby. I grew up also with his stand-up routine. I saw him live also.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I watched his stand-up routine so many. I have on VHS, and I watched it over and over. And a few years ago, I got my daughter to listen to it because it's family friendly. A lot of the stuff that his comedy routine, and she got into the whole chocolate cake for breakfast stand-up routine, and she makes me play it on Spotify all the time. This is just weird. I know it's funny, and the voices are funny in it, but really, we shouldn't be listening to this that much.
Right. What context?
Because now Spotify is Spotify's keeping tabs on me. This guy's a big Bill Cosby fan. That's what.
Yeah.
So
He must like.
I like roofing people.
Clearly, a song about roofing girls.
Yeah, so it's a tough time,
Yeah, it's a little bit of a confusing time to be in.
Yeah, so
people are kind of figuring out that technology can catch up.
Yep.
So, I mean, I don't want to say that I haven't seen the evidence, and the news kind of keeps everything behind closed doors except what they want you to see. But as far as I don't know what to believe. It's hard. It's a weird time. You watch the news, you don't know what to believe. You hear a lot of crap.
Everyone's paying off everybody to keep real shit under wraps.
Yeah.
I don't really have an elaboration on that. It's just a lot of crap every day. But with that being said, let's talk about biggest surprise of the year. So biggest movie that you didn't think anything of, but ended up being a quality film. Starting with Rob.
Don't think too hard.
No, I thought of it a little bit different. One that I was looking forward to but ended up blowing away my expectations was The Green Book.
Yeah.
It looked good, but I ended up leaving thinking it was better than what I thought it was going to be. In a movie in terms of that I thought looked or I wasn't very interested in that came out really liking was Widows. I didn't want to see that movie at all. Ended up leaving actually really liking it.
Tight.
I agree. I saw the trailers for that. It did not interest me much, but the buzz coming out of it has been amazing. So now I do want to see it because the concept didn't grab me at first.
That director is great.
Steve McQueen, right?
Yeah.
He did Shame. He did Hunger. He did
12 Years, was it?
12 Years a Slave. Yeah. Great director. Great controversial. Not afraid to go to the fences for whatever he believes in. A lot of movies this year have hit balls. A lot of movies.
Yeah. Both positive and negative.
Yeah.
In terms of balls. Is it my turn? So I had two because one instantly was The Meg. I don't like the ocean. And if you've seen that podcast, you know damn well how scared I was of the ocean and how much I don't like it. And I saw it in 3D, and this was one of the best things I've seen this year because it's simple and everything just looked really cool, even though it was CG and even though I was having panic attacks. It was cool. I like Jason Statham now, I guess, since that was the first thing I ever saw with him in it.
Watch Snap.
That's the first Jason Statham movie
Yeah,
you've seen?
everyone's upset with me.
So that's your introduction to Jason Statham
Is the Meg. Yes.
In his arguably most grounded real role.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I feel like that gets me excited to see him in, like, I mean, he's the same, if he's typecasted, obviously.
Oh, he's so much different in Guy
There's about
Ritchie
40 movies
Yeah.
that I could just throw at you that you just wouldn't be able to tell the difference from.
I like it, though, because I really like his
Watch
voice.
Crank.
All right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Crank, I keep getting told to watch that.
If you like that Jason Statham, watch Crank.
Okay. And then my...
Not Crank 2.
There's,
That one's all right.
there's a second one?
Of course there is.
All right, well, I'll do the first one and report back. But my second biggest surprise, I guess, was Alpha, because I feel like the concept of it was so simple that I feel like it could have gone so horribly wrong, but I was just so impressed by how it looked visually and how even with such minimal speaking in it, there was still so much emotion and so much growth that happened in it. And even though the whole thing is just like a catalog of screensavers, I enjoyed it. I do think I still fucked up by not seeing it in 3D, but like I was excited to see it, but I wasn't expecting like as beautiful a film as I got. So I left and I saw this alone with like another family, and this was also another pleasant theater experience.
You joined someone's family?
They were behind me and I was just alone, and I was like, oh god, they're gonna think I'm weird. Like every single time I went quiet, they stopped crinkling their snacks. It was like, fuck yeah. Like these are the best people I could have ever been in a theater with. And just I think that's what helped it, because a lot of films I got angry at was because of the theater I was in as well. The kinds of crowds that come into certain things, I'm like, I don't want to be associated with you.
Just bad luck.
But this was one of the great ones, and it surprised me. I like Alpha. I will tell everybody and their mother to see Alpha. That was a good one. And that's all I got.
So I have 6
Jesus
movies that
Christ.
surprised me. So two of them you nailed. So I'm just gonna touch on those briefly. The Meg was what I went into expecting, like,
Manure.
garbage, complete garbage. I got in one of the best written action movies I've seen all year. Jason Statham's character was for once grounded and actually well written.
We're so great.
All of the acting as a whole was great.
Yeah.
The action was funny. It had its funny moments. It had its serious moments. It was a really good balance. And the film looked great.
Yep.
Saw it in 3D. Definitely wasn't a mistake. And then you mentioned also Alpha. Alpha was one of the most beautiful movies all year. Very underseen. It was about a man, basically the first domestication of a dog.
Yep.
And it was fantastic. It was one of the biggest surprises that any of us had.
Yeah.
We kind of just went in, what's playing this week? Oh, only this movie.
I
Alpha.
thought it was a different
Yeah,
movie.
you
I
thought
thought
it
it
was-
was the robot dog movie.
Yeah, that movie.
That was in there for like 24 hours.
So those are the two that overlaps. I have another one, You Were Never Really Here, which was a movie that came out.
Joaquin
It was basically Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah.
It was basically Taxi Driver 2.0.
Wow.
I gotta watch it again.
I should tell my brother to watch that. He
Really?
loves
It's
Taxi
on my
Driver.
short list.
You should
You
check
get
it
to
out.
eventually, yeah.
It's a strong movie. It's a lot of, it's another revenge movie, doing what's right. Fantastic acting, fantastic cinematography, fantastic editing. Another surprise, more of a recent one, was Aquaman. Came in expecting garbage. The
You
trailer was
were
garbage.
not happy about that.
Oh no,
So
but
mad.
after I saw it, one of the most beautiful movies I've seen all year. The acting wasn't half bad, except for Jason Momoa, which somehow they kind of tricked into not being terrible. The action was great. The art and concept design was amazing. I loved some of these action sequences.
Yeah.
They were amazing. So that's 3. The other surprise I had, that's 4. I'm sorry. Let's see. Hold on. Let's check my list real quick. Game Night, which was my favorite comedy of the year.
Yeah, best
Wow.
comedy of the year.
I didn't see that because
Down
I
year
thought it
for
looked so
comedies.
dumb.
Very strong. Also, like an honorable mention, Blockers was pretty good too. A lot
Better
of,
than it looked.
Really?
yeah.
I'm
than it
really
looked.
disappointed I never saw that.
It's on my my most disappointed.
Yeah,
I would say like they're both very funny comedies. John Cena in Blockers is a little bit ridiculous,
Couldn't even
but
see him.
he plays it well. And the writing is kind of self-aware of John Cena, which is great.
And how
It makes me want to
ridiculously
see John
huge he
Cena
is.
in a better role. Is what I left from that, because I think he's got talent.
Yeah.
And he just needs a better vehicle. And I thought Blockers would be, but I just didn't buy him in that role.
I can just
He's
tell you
what The Rock
it's
was
not
10
Bumblebee.
years ago.
It's not Bumblebee.
Okay.
He was hilarious in that Sisters movie where he just monotonely named out all the drugs he carries.
Oh, that was great.
That was his
That was
best
last year, though.
best role. Oh, I know, but like
Sisters,
that was his best role.
Amy Poehler, Tina Fey.
I know what you're talking
I
about.
just
I ain't seen
love
So good.
John Cena.
That was last year's Step Brothers for me.
Yeah,
We didn't do the podcast that early, but
that's my honorable mention of years prior.
and then my last biggest surprise. That was it.
Yeah, solid.
So, what is your biggest surprises this year, Nathan?
I'll mention 2 of them. One of them was Bad Times at the El Royale. Have you seen that yet?
I did, and I'm going to let you finish your review, but I'm going to tell you what I found wrong with it in a second.
Okay, there are problems with it, but I went in with very low expectations because I thought the trailer did not sell the movie properly, and I expected, and this has probably been mentioned a few times, it reminded people of the 2003 movie Identity, where like random strangers meet at this hotel and secrets get revealed and people die and all that. But I just thought it was just a fun, pulpy adventure, and I just loved how, I love any movie that has like the Rashomon effect, where you're seeing a version of the story and then you go back and you see it from a different perspective and you're learning new things about the characters or the story, and I just thought it really nailed it. It also felt like a movie out of time. It felt like something you would see off the coattails of like Pulp Fiction, where everybody was trying to remake that type of film, like Things to Do in Denver When You're Dead or Get Shorty. It had that style of writing to it, but I think we're far enough away from all the movies that were trying to capture that this movie, found a wheelhouse in there where it found great casting and just a fun movie, and that's real. I just went in with low expectations and I was pleasantly surprised.
So I liked that movie a lot. I just had 2 major plot holes that bothered me so much where I could not put that anywhere near my list at the end of the year. And the first one is the dreaded let's leave the door open when we're kidnapping someone and just murdered someone so everybody can see inside our hotel room and what's happening. Oh, and someone dies. And they see it. That's something they always do in movies. They leave the hotel room open, and it's like something I always notice, and I'm just like, close the door. Be realistic. John Hamm could have peered through the window and seen it. Why do you have to have the door open? That was my thought on that.
Minor gripe.
Okay. And then the other thing was more of like me kind of picking this movie apart was when Angela Bassett, is it? Not Angela Bassett.
Not Angela Bassett.
No.
Lady from Widows.
Darlene, the woman that plays Darlene? Yeah.
Darlene. Let's just go with that.
Isn't that the Lady
Okay.
from
I
Widows?
forget her name.
Tight.
So when she goes to get a room initially at the hotel, she is not deterred that her room that's so important to her is taken, and she takes another one. Which the entire reason why she's at that hotel in the first place is because she holds a certain room nostalgic to her. So the idea of her picking another room...
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
I thought she just wanted a random room because she was on her way to that gig.
No. In the past, and when we rewind to the past, it was in that hotel room.
I need to see it again.
And that she was in, where she was basically reprimanded.
Okay.
So that's the main thing that I found an issue with that. However, I did love one of the lesser known characters, Lewis Pullman.
Yeah.
Pullman's son.
Yeah.
Loved him.
I just like where you have one expectation of him, and then he's really the linchpin of the movie.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways, which I thought was very clever. So, yeah.
I love that he's keeping in the family because I love Bill Pullman, and I'm currently I'm digging him so much, Bill Pullman, on The Sinner.
Okay.
If you've seen it.
I haven't.
It's such a
TV's a whole nother
history. It is.
Not watching a lot of TV
There's
these days.
a lot of shows.
Yeah.
But yeah, keep going. I'm sorry.
So Bad Time. The other thing, and I'm sorry, I'm gonna refer to my notes, was a recent thing I saw. Leave No Trace. Anyone else?
I haven't seen it. I just bought the book.
So I haven't read the book either yet, but
Don't ruin it for me.
I won't. Ben Foster is a father that is living in the Oregon or Washington woods with his daughter, and it's a very, very quiet film, and it's a slow burn. I won't ruin anything about it, but it's just a beautiful film that I think is great. And there's a scene, not spoiling anything, where most of the film is in the woods, but they walk into like Portland or something at one time, and you just see them walk over this bridge and all this infrastructure, and there's little figures walking through the city, and it's just a great juxtaposition of their life living in the woods.
So you can give it away a little bit. I'm not going to be mad. I'd rather give a proper review.
That sounds like something.
Why do they live in the woods?
Well, he is suffering from PTSD. He was in the military, and it never really gets too much into it, but Ben Foster gives a great performance because you can see the pain and anguish, and he's always somebody that I've never been super fond of him in the roles he's been in, but he is very reserved, and you can see that every single movie makes, every single choice that he makes, he is dealing with this PTSD, and I just think it's a very nuanced, solid performance, and the daughter is brilliant in it, and she is kind of being the parent of the two of them, because have anyone here seen was it Captain Fantastic from a couple of years ago?
Movie,
so if you've seen that, this is a great companion piece to that, and it really makes you question this father who is making them live this life out in the woods. Is he real? And you think, he thinks he's doing the right thing. He's teaching her how to hunt, how to fish, how to make a fire and all this. But as the movie goes on, you really start to question, is this really all for the best for her well-being?
Nope.
And
is it the PTSD that makes him do it and the wife is just enabling it, or
the what? No, there's no wife.
Oh, there is no wife.
No, it's just the father and the daughter. It's very early on, it's revealed that the wife has passed away, so that's not really spoiling anything. But it's a great father-daughter relationship movie, and it's really about who is really being the parent in this, and what is the best way of living your life, your best life. I don't want to say much more than that because a lot of people haven't seen it, and but it's a beautiful film that I went in not really knowing much about, but I left with it in my top 10, so it's a solid movie.
I'm looking forward to reading the book.
Nice.
Yep.
I want to read the book before I watch the movie, just because I didn't get the opportunity, because the movie release kills all my dreams.
Yeah, well, I think it's streaming now, so that's where I probably saw it.
Marvelous.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it might be on the Amazon. I'm not sure.
Past it, yeah. Amazon has a lot of hidden finds.
Yeah.
Like we talked about with The Ticket with Dan Stevens last podcast. Really strong film about a blind man who regains his sight and goes after what he didn't have in life, which was the big job, the hot girlfriend, etc. And then when he tries to get back with his wife, his blindness comes back, and then it's like an Aesop's fable kind of thing.
Yeah,
it's very good. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So we just did our biggest surprise, and like now let's do our biggest disappointment. So, what was your biggest disappointments, Rob, this year?
I have 3 on the list.
Yeah.
2 are horror movies. Being a huge horror fan, I was very disappointed by The Nun. I was looking so forward to that movie, and they went away from what made the first Conjuring movie so good and tried to make it cheesy with jump scares. Like jump scares that didn't fit.
Yeah.
That really bothered me.
Or we're in the trailer and everyone's expecting them.
Yeah.
Do you think the whole controversy with the trailer had a negative impact on the film?
No.
Only if
Not
you're
for me.
someone who purely goes for the jump scares. Like, there's some people who literally just go to the movies just to be obnoxious and scream because they think it's like, oh my god, so scary. And, like, there's a lot of people who are like, oh my god, the scariest part was in the trailer. I was one of those people, but jump scares really don't do anything to me. I'm just a solid rock when I, like, watch shit like that. Meanwhere, my boyfriend's jumping into, like, 3 seats away from me.
Like, all my fingers for these movies.
But, like,
I could have more hands, so I've only seen that much. I look at the corners of the TV.
Yeah.
I know something's going to jump out at me. I don't like it.
Yeah.
I thought the trailer was crap because, like, any movie that's throwing its biggest jump scare out there in a trailer is going
Fucked
to be
up.
crap.
Yeah.
Like, they could have just, like, played out, like, the backstory of the nun. They could have had, like, an actor read from a book of philosophy.
Right.
Or, not philosophy. A book of demons and talking about the nun and then left it at that. And it would have been a great trailer. Would have got more people to go in. But instead, jump scare. I mean, I can't arguably say that the jump scare trailer didn't get more people in the theaters. 'Cause
No,
most people
that is
are
the only
probably
reason they
idiots.
got in.
Yeah,
because of
probably
it.
got-
Movie to what?
the
Is this,
general
is
audience
it going to
going.
continue this franchise?
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah,
will.
it
Is it
ended.
well enough?
It made too much money.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it ended as if it was going to be made again.
Fucking
Even I feel like even if
French.
it didn't, the Conjuring
French
whole
piece
thing
of
has
shit.
Frenchie's a fucking bastard. But like I feel like the Conjuring as a whole just has way too much of a following that
It's
it
way too
really
successful.
really
I
doesn't matter.
I caught up on the Annabelle movies are in that too. Right?
Yep.
I caught up on those in the last.
Annabelle Creation's
months.
alright.
Annabelle Creations was better.
Really go for either one. It's kind of I don't.
Annabelle Creation felt
Doll's not
more
scary
like
to
The
me.
Conjuring.
Yeah, no, the doll's not scary.
It just
I
sits
love
there.
The
I-
demon
dolls.
was
I
scary
love
in Annabelle.
creepy dolls, but like the first one, I just have so many issues with because the
So
acting was
horrible.
shit.
Everything was bad in that.
Yeah.
Whoever was in charge of set design was shit because it was supposed to be like in the 50s or whatever, 50s or 60s, and didn't feel like that at all.
Yeah.
They gave her some like super stereotypical like hairstyle. Whoever played the mom in that was horrible. I don't
remember.
I don't.
probably
She was
for that reason.
shit. So,
I saw them back to back, so they're just. A,
Yeah.
but the second Annabelle was great.
I
But
like
even
that
The
one.
Conjuring, I don't like all of them.
I like 1 and 2. I like them
Conjuring
both.
Movies and the Insidious movies.
A lot of people do.
Yeah.
A lot of
Insidious.
people do.
Me too.
You did, yeah, when we were like talking,
Yeah.
he was like, "Wait, is that Insidious?" It's like, no.
Yeah.
Insidious
Got real
1
confused.
Was
is
alright.
Really?
Yeah,
I
it
thought
was
it
alright.
was incredible.
I thought
I thought-
Insidious
I thought
1
they-
was pretty good.
I
And
thought-
Luke Wilson?
I hated how they
No,
revealed.
that was The Conjuring.
had a
Darth
lot of
Maul.
great Darth Maul, but that was like one dark. When you saw that though, that was a huge jump.
I did like the first one.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it
But I-
became like a meme at some point. So like the Darth Maul face did not affect me in any way.
Yeah, they shouldn't have revealed it. Like
But they
that,
like
but-
what I like about those films that they do hide a lot of stuff like in the background.
Yeah.
And The Nun, I feel like did none of that shit. And that's why it upset me because Valak's whole building up to what Valak is was Easter eggs in like all of the Conjuring films.
Yeah,
and
it
the
was.
fact that this is what Valak's film is supposed
Yeah,
to be
disappointing.
was absolutely
least.
unacceptable.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, I should have done this. I love spooky ghost films, but like, they spent so much building her up to give us nothing about her except to have the other Farmiga in a Conjuring film.
Yeah.
And that was it. I love her though, so I'm not going to talk shit. Taisa Farmiga is the best, but yeah, I'm sorry. I jumped in, but I forgot about that. Wow.
It's okay.
Because I think I defended it a little bit.
No,
when I talked about it, I was like on the fence.
we were both disappointed by
Yeah.
it because expecting more.
Yeah, I'm gonna have you continue.
My second biggest disappointment. Oh yeah, Hereditary.
Yeah.
This
Why,
was-
Rob?
It's too much. I'll just give a couple things. It was billed as being the scariest movie since The Exorcist.
Yes.
I didn't find a single unsettling thing about this movie. It was such a big letdown, and I understood it all. I'll just leave it at that. I didn't like it.
Okay. Your opinions are wrong, but okay.
This is a sore topic.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. That was a very passionate.
That's why she sat at that end of the table.
Yeah, I do usually sit at the end.
And then another one,
Fight with
it's
Rob.
mainly just because of I liked the first one so much. It may have been because I was an idiot and a little child, but Super Troopers 2. I was looking forward to that movie for like 10 years, and it came out, and I thought it was horrible.
Yeah.
So let down by it. The jokes missed for me. And I went back to watch this first Super Troopers to think, maybe I'm stupid and this one sucked too. I liked the first Super Troopers still.
Yeah.
So this
like
one
a lot
just
of people
fell
did.
really flat for me. Maybe I should have went on a lot of drugs and went to go see it. Or got really drunk. Maybe that would have helped, but I just hated it. They all look the same though. They're all unaged in 10 years.
Yeah, they are. They're impressively gifted.
Yeah.
Yes, with that.
Yeah, those are my biggest letdowns of 2018.
All right. So I feel like there's a lot of films that, like, I wasn't necessarily disappointed. They just kind of was like, meh. Like, I'm cool, I saw it, but it wasn't like the biggest piece of shit. Now that you mentioned The Nun, that was something I was super disappointed in. Another being horror. That's just who I is. I was really upset with a lot of horror this year.
Yeah.
Not that good.
But my biggest disappointment was Slender Man. I feel like Slender Man had its time. I don't understand why on earth this needed to be reborn in the way that it was, because, you know, I know we need to be safe because we know a lot of people who worked on it, whatever, but like,
Not in the way that it was.
no. I'm just like, what were you talking about? The Marble Hornets? Yeah. I actually went back and watched that, and then I just shut it off because I was nervous. So I was like, no.
My teenhood.
Yeah, I feel it like this is not Slender Man's time. Like, he had his shit. Even on like Reddit, I feel like people are stuck on that. Her name's like Momo or something, and it's like the bitch from The Shining, but her face is really fucked up. That's like the new Slender Man right now. And
Gotta meet this lady.
Slender Man's a secret.
Momo's terrifying, but like there's been
No.
scarier.
I wish it was.
There's been way scarier Reddit like characters and like not horror icons, because that's disrespectful, but like
He doesn't know what Marble Hornets is, though.
neither did I.
Neither did
Oh,
I.
yeah, true. So Marble
You were the
Hornets
only
was-
one.
The what?
Marble Hornets.
Marble Hornets?
Is
Marble
where
Hornets.
Slender Man
You're talking
began.
blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, it
I
was
knew
a
Slender
YouTube-
Man from like Reddit, and that's it.
So Marble Hornets was originally a YouTube series that was created by a couple of like indie filmmakers, and it was like 100-something episodes in, and it was like basically they just go out and film this series, but it was expertly done, expertly written, expertly edited, basically creating this universe where this creature Slenderman comes and kidnaps kids and leaves no trace of them, and continues to keep capturing kids. But it was like this YouTube series created like with Handycam, with like, you know, a bunch of kids in like their thesis or whatever in high school or college, and when I was, you know, 18, 19, I was super into ghost hunting and everything, and like when I first found Marble Hornets, my friend showed me the first episode, and I watched the entire 150 episode season in that sitting.
Yeah.
It's just really, it was a really well done, super low budget. It was very, very reminiscent of Blair Witch Project and the way they marketed themselves, and they just did a very good job with it, to the point where today we have Slender Man, and it's just nothing like the original.
Maybe he needs to eat something.
It should. It just should have been left alone. Like, it had its time. Whoever was a fan of it, I don't know anyone who's an actual like used to be a fan like your level, but
Yeah.
Like the first time I saw Slender Man was like they did like a photo contest on Reddit, which is where I first saw him, so that's where I thought he started, and they would edit Slenderman into like the backgrounds of like pictures of kids playing on the playground, which they had in the film, and I'm like, oh, those are like they're fake. They're obviously fake. They're not real. But like when I'm in my youth and I'm like, oh my God, that's the most terrifying thing ever, because I also would sit there and be like, oh, there's spooky things in the woods. I love this. Like, and to just see it be so not well done, and the acting was just so horrendous, and just I can be, proud that, oh wow, this is shot here, great, but like I'm so mad at whoever wrote this.
Yeah.
I'm so mad. So it's just, and seeing the posters, I was like, oh, whatever. Saw it for this, and I was even extra disappointed. I didn't know I could be even more disappointed, but I was. So that's it. That's all I got for you.
All right. So that was actually made my biggest disappointment list. Slenderman was up there, and then the other one was Isle of Dogs, which was Wes Anderson's most recent animated movie, following his other animated movie, Fantastic Mr. Fox. This movie, when you're Wes Anderson, so he's made like several, 7 to 10 live action movies, and he's made one animated movie, Fantastic Mr. Fox, which is excellent. Perfect, fantastic movie. I watch it probably twice a year.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I probably watch. I'm super white, so I watch, like, it's so stereotypically true that like I watch Wes Anderson movies. I probably watch every single one of Wes Anderson movies at least twice a year.
Nice.
Life Aquatic is probably on at least 10 to 15.
Wow.
But
whoa,
just the way he makes movies, it's just like, it's a way to make a movie in which I feel no pressure watching it whatsoever, and it allows me to relax and take in really complex subjects with a really it's hard to explain. Like in Life Aquatic, Bill Murray falls down the stairs towards the third act of the movie, and his dialogue is, "I never wanted to be a father," talking to Owen Wilson, who's his father, who's his son in the movie. And during the whole course of Life Aquatic, it's a really easygoing movie with a lot of like dry comedy, but like you're understanding that Bill Murray in this movie is a has-been. He a has-been or never was, and he's always never understood how to lead a normal life. And when he's approached by the opportunity of fatherhood, he doesn't know how to handle it, but he also wants it so bad. And to fail, it does nothing but kill him inside. And at that scene, I cry every time. But anyway, Fantastic Mr. Fox was a very playful, accessible movie with a lot of adult subjects, but with a lot of easily digestible characters and a lot of fun. Isle of Dogs seemed to miss all of that. None of the characters had the same energy or feel. The writing was kind of all over the place, and the plot was all over the place. It was super disappointing and actually hurtful to me as a white male that Wes Anderson would betray me. I'm kind of kidding, but like I find it funny that like the cliche is that white people like Wes Anderson movies, and I literally love Wes Anderson movies. But no, this one just didn't do it for me.
It's funny. I've seen all of his movies except for the 2 animated movies.
Oh, really?
I have not seen Fantastic Mr. Fox, but I do love not all of them, but I love most of his live action. Life Aquatic I haven't seen in a long time. Now I kind of want to see it again, because I've seen Rushmore and Royal Tenenbaums many, many times,
So good.
and probably seen those 2 the most. But I haven't. But yeah, Life Aquatic is one I have not returned to yet.
You and your kids will love Fantastic Mr. Fox, and for different reasons.
Okay.
Which is fantastic in my opinion. It's the way to make an animated movie.
All right.
A lot of people do it right. There are a lot of animated movies that are fantastic, like Toy Story,
fuck yeah,
etc. There's adult themes in a kid's movie. This is one of those movies. A lot of adult themes in this kid's movie, and it's not too heavy-handed where your kids are going to ask you weird questions, and it's not too light where you're going to go in and thinking you're bored.
All right.
You know?
Put it on my short list.
And what do you think disappointing movies this year?
Okay, so the two that come to mind, they've both been mentioned. One of them is going to cause a lot of friction, I think. But I'm going to say, the first one I'm going to say is Blockers.
Whoa.
Neither of these movies I hated, but I went in hearing Blockers being like the funniest movie of all time. Like, it was going to be a really raunchy, biting comedy, and what's his name?
John Cena.
John Cena.
Well, you know who he is.
Yes, John Cena. I just didn't get into him in this movie. I think he is a very talented actor that needs to find the right role for him. Apparently it's not Bumblebee, but I'm sure that he will find a platform that will be perfect for him. But I just didn't work for me. There were great highlights in the film. I'm not complaining. It just I wanted like Superbad again, and that's what I was thinking it was gonna be, and it wasn't. And maybe just because I'm older too. I at an age now where I relate more to the parents, obviously, than the kids. And when I watched Superbad, I was kind of in the middle of that, so I kind of, could relate to Jonah Hill and the other kid,
Michael Cera.
Yes,
yeah,
Michael Cera in that, and it's I guess I'm at an age now where like I'm seeing like the parents' point of view, and it horrified me probably more than anything.
I think Sisters is the movie you're looking for.
Yes.
Okay.
Monotone drug dealer John Cena is his role.
Okay. Yeah, actually, Stevia stole the show in that one for me.
No.
Do you remember Stevia?
No. Yes.
You remember Stevia? I forget his name. He's on SNL. He's the other fat white comedian.
Yeah.
Who's not dead.
Oh, fuck! I need to go home and watch that.
I don't know his
Again.
name.
So the other one, and this is where we may have a problem, The Meg.
Oh my God! I have to go.
Yeah, here, I'm going to preface this by saying I am a huge fan of the series of books by Steve Alton. I was on board from day one back in '97 or so when the first book came out.
Everything.
So again, I don't have time to read a lot of books. Yes. I just don't. Maybe I read one a year, but I read all the Meg novels, and I'll admit, even the novels themselves, they get worse as they go on. But I'm only like out of like 7 or 8 of them, I've read like the first 6 or that many. 6 of them or so.
Many?
Oh yeah, and he's still pumping these out.
I started collecting them. I thought I had all of them.
Some of them aren't even like in bookstores. Like you have to like special order them from his website directly. Because but they're going downhill. But I loved the Meg so much, and it made me scared of the water again. And first time since watching Jaws, I experienced some form of media where like I really was irked by this whole thing. And it is a horrifying book, and the movie does it no justice at all, no surprise. But beyond that, I looked at it and I didn't hate the movie. It's a really good popcorn movie.
Yes.
I'm not complaining about that. It delivered the goods what it intended to do. I just wish it just captivated me more, because it's something that I loved so much growing up, and of course it was never going to meet those expectations, as it never could have. So that's my only preface. There's nothing wrong with the film. It just it was nothing like the book at all.
It was almost
and except for being a big shark, there really isn't much else, and some of the characters had the same names.
Yeah.
That's it. But there's I would highly recommend the book. It's a quick read, fun. It's much more of a horror book story. Really recommend it. And even some of the second and third sequels in the books are really good too. So, but there being 2 sharks was awesome. So I knew all along there was a second shark coming. And but it just disappointed me, because I experienced that story on such a better level before.
It's because it skipped genres on you? Because it definitely didn't feel like a horror
this may have been mentioned before, but I'm sure everyone here has seen The Deep Blue Sea, right?
Yeah, of course.
If the movie was trying to be more fun and campy like that, I think I would have enjoyed it more. If it just went all in on that style, like Piranha 3D or Deep Blue Sea or something where it's just ridiculous.
It seemed all about the resolution between Jason Statham and the female marine biologist.
Yeah, it was. What was the whole love interest thing was very odd in it too. It didn't. The chemistry. First of all, Jason Statham and whoever, I forget who they were. There was no chemistry at all. I thought with him and any of his ex-wife or wife at the time, who was. I just didn't buy into that at all, or the girl that kind of liked him. And now I'm blocking a lot of it out. But it was, the performances of like all the people on the side I thought were solid. It was very, everyone was kind of a caricature. But it delivered exactly what it wanted to do, and I'm happy that it was successful. But I'm sad because I know they're going to make more of these, and they're going to be just as bad in my book. So,
well, we'll see.
Respect.
We'll see. But they probably had to tone. They probably took this movie called The Meg, and they probably had to cheese it up a little bit to try to sell it.
Well, there was a great shark movie a couple years ago with Blake Lively. What was it called?
Oh, I haven't seen it yet.
But that movie was everything I wanted in a shark movie. The Shallows. Which, if we'd done the show a couple years ago, would have been one of the most surprising movies of the year.
I don't like the water.
But I thought that was scary, gripping, and suspenseful film, and The Meg could have been that.
Yeah.
Or it could have gone really campy. And it tried to do balancing act, and I thought it kind of didn't reach either.
So this is a good episode for my personal records to figure out what I gotta go watch. Dogtooth, that other movie by Yorgos, and The Shallows.
Shallows is good. Shallows is good.
So now that we've talked about biggest disappointments, biggest surprises, let's round the show off with our favorite movie. This is like what we liked the most.
All right.
And our least favorite movie, what we didn't like the most. Has nothing to do with quality. Has nothing to do with how good the cinematography was. It could be a piece of shit.
Okay.
So, favorite movie and least favorite movie, Rob.
I'm going to go with Infinity War as favorite for just what it means and what it built up to be and how long it took to get there as my favorite. And least favorite, oh, Jesus Christ. No, there was so many bad ones.
There was a lot of bad ones.
I can't do least favorite, so I'm just going to say one of my top 3 least favorite, Death Wish, with Bruce Willis.
That was this year?
It was really fucking bad.
Believe it or not, it was this year.
It was horrible.
Came and went.
There's also a horror movie that came out that I can't remember that I couldn't stand to.
Winchester.
No, not that one.
Oh.
It was worse than Winchester.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was.
That came out this year?
Yeah.
Or last year? Probably?
Yeah, actually, you know what? I hated Winchester more than Death Wish.
You did.
That movie was so bad.
I am the only person on the earth that liked that movie.
It felt like it was 4 hours long and I fell asleep.
That was the only movie you told me to watch out for twice. Don't see it.
Yeah, don't.
Twice.
I just like that the Winchester Mansion exists in real life. So that's just the only thing that got me all excited. I was like,
yeah,
ooh.
well, Evan, still don't go see it. But there's one that was worse than that. I just can't think of it.
I'm trying to think of horror movies that came out this year. Last year. Fuck it. Is it my turn?
Yep.
Great. I'm gonna do the least favorite, which is The Darkest Minds. I feel like that just had nothing going for it, which is super upsetting because I feel like this year was filled with a lot of people taking books and making them into movies and not doing it correctly. Now that I know The Meg was a disappointment. The Darkest Minds just had absolutely nothing going for it. No one worked. That was a horrible movie. It was like 2 hours too long. Mm-hmm. And it's just, I just throw it out.
She also had the dumbest name out of any actress I've ever heard.
You're so mad at Amandla.
Amandla!
You're so mad at her.
That's a dumb name.
Ridiculous.
But
It's like your mom had a stroke while she wrote on her birth certificate.
No, that's like some actress.
Amanda.
My name's Amanda. When people look me up on IMDb, they're not going to get it right. I might as well make it Amanda Law. So
amazing.
Find me. And here we are today.
So I have this one written down as my honorable mention, but it honestly is the one that got me super excited this year, and it is Overlord. love Overlord as an effects artist. Practical effects get me going, and I feel like this was beautifully done, and I feel like it wasn't too long.
No.
And it's just really good.
That was another biggest surprise that would kind of just end up as an honorable mention because I had too many.
Yeah, but Overlord's the Overlord of the year.
So I had my favorite was actually the favorite.
Yeah.
So I mean, I just couldn't. I love a movie with some solid character
jobs.
study.
Yeah.
Complete character study. The acting was phenomenal. I could watch that movie 10 times over for Emily Blunt. She was
Emily Blunt?
amazing.
Emma Stone.
Emma Stone.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Correct
I'm
yourself.
sorry.
Like them
Emma Stone.
hand jobs.
Emily Blunt is amazing.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
she's my
Excuse
favorite.
me. But my least favorites are a tie. So I had my first one was an in theaters one, and that one was shit. Can't remember.
I don't remember that one.
Traffic. Okay. That's why I don't
Traffic,
remember.
yeah.
So Traffic was a movie done by a music video director about human trafficking, and they felt the need to put text on the screen at the beginning and the end of the movie detailing how difficult how much of an issue human trafficking was. But during this entire movie, there was very little about the movie that was about human trafficking. Not in the slightest did they ever make it seem like it was a huge issue aside from like the very end, the last like 10 minutes. And this movie had some of the worst acting, some of the worst writing, worst cinematography. It was above and beyond the worst movie I have seen in 2018.
And that came out like early in the year.
Yeah.
That was a flying piece of shit. Like, I cannot even go into detail. This movie has been brought up in so many reviews. just
Watch
because
the
how bad it
review.
is.
I'm sure you weren't that nice to it then.
Yes, please watch the review. I like how
Oh,
the
they
entire
totally-
I just
cast
remember
is
Taylor
mad at
being
us.
upset. I did watch the review, but I just remember Taylor being like, "Fuck this."
Yeah.
But my other... You okay?
I died.
My other least favorite movie of the year is a streaming, Cloverfield Paradox.
Which
So
everybody and their mother
except
hated.
Justin.
Fuck you, Justin.
Of
It
course,
sucked.
Justin
So
liked it.
this series feels the need to drag movies have a complete unrelated story and slapping the name Cloverfield on them. So this movie was not only a flying piece of shit in space, but it was a flying piece of shit in space that had absolutely no connection with the Cloverfield universe, but yet was deemed as so by saying that there was a parallel universe.
They sandwiched the fuck out of that in.
These are the only filmmakers who I honestly just go fly into the fucking sun or a black hole, you piece of shit. Because you just want money. Don't
Yeah.
give these people work.
Really, nobody would have watched that film if they didn't call it that, right? I mean,
Exactly.
Yeah,
it would
definitely.
have completely flown under the radar. And the fact that they promoted it during the Super Bowl, too.
Yep.
Which was a brilliant piece of marketing.
That was all their marketing money because that cost millions
Yeah.
to do.
That was their Hail
For
Mary.
a shit film.
But they knew it was a lousy film.
Yeah, that's why they sold
that.
it to Netflix.
Why
They
did
knew
if
they
did
knew it
so
was
bad?
because they knew it was gonna bomb in theaters and lose the money, so they try to get
Yeah.
something. There's no way that movie would have made $50 million, which is what
No.
Netflix bought it for.
Really?
It's not even smart for Netflix.
Purely because of the Cloverfield in it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a piece of dog shit.
But anyway, those are my two crescendos of least favorite. Those are big ones. But Nathan, what do you think?
Well, since I seem to have the final word on this, I'm going to leave on a high note. So I'm going to talk about my two least favorite movies first.
Okay.
Kind of a tie. One of them, I'll just do one. Let's keep it simple.
Alright.
Mamma Mia, Here We Go Again.
Oh, yes!
I loathe this film so much. And I am not a hater of musicals. I do like a good musical. And I actually liked the first one a lot. So you can't say I wasn't the right audience for it.
I like the
thought
first
the first one was really well done and choreographed well and great performances. But there was absolutely no point for this sequel. Nothing. And the contrived plot they had put together to bring these characters back together was just utter ridiculousness.
You didn't like Cher?
I don't Cher just they just rolled her out they
made her a selling point.
She is like she can't move. She's just like a piece of clay now.
Mm-hmm.
She can't
Cher.
I have nothing against Cher at all, but it was I just couldn't. I probably fell asleep 3 times in it. My wife watched it, and she didn't even like it that much, I don't think. But it was just trash. It was just absolute trash, and I have nothing more to say about that.
Nice.
But I do want to leave on a high note, and unfortunately, I already talked about my favorite film of the year. And that was Won't You Be My Neighbor. But I'm going to take this opportunity to highlight something else which just missed my list, which could have easily been my number 1 film because they all kind of swap around every day. But nobody here has talked about Roma, streaming on Netflix yet.
Oh.
Which is maybe the most beautiful film I saw of the year. Maybe Annihilation and Roma were side by side in cinematography. But Alfonso Cuarón directed this. He said it's his most personal film he's ever made, and it's a harrowing story about a family and their, I want to say not their maid, but their person, the woman that takes care of the children, like a nanny, and it's really a story about her and her struggles and how she lives in a different class than the family that she works for. It's this shot in this really crisp, brilliant black and white cinematography. It's using a lot of wide-angle lenses, so you see them walking through these town and spaces, and it's so vibrant. This is a movie that if you have a chance to see in the theater, and it is playing in some theaters still, it's worth it. I saw it streaming on Netflix, but it is that beautiful and that good. You guys haven't seen it yet, but there's one scene, and I will warn people. There's one scene that is so brutal. It's not like graphic or gory, but there's a hospital scene where something is going on that is so terrible, and Cuarón leaves the camera lingering on this for so long, and I just hated it because he couldn't look away. And it's such an intense film. In the final scene, there's a scene at the beach, and I'm not giving anything away, but it's this sun-drenched, water-drenched scene where all these characters are kind of like, you've seen probably the poster for it, where they're like huddled on the beach, in that. But everything that leads up to that moment is one of the most breathtaking scenes I've ever seen for the year.
Is it like a Lars von Trier film? Or
No. It's a very not at all. I don't know. Actually, I don't even know how to describe Lars von Trier. That's what I think of Lars. But it's a solid film all around, and it's on Netflix right now. Go see it. It's worth it. It's the only film that I saw twice this year because I had to see it again because there's so much happening in the scene. The background. It's so sharp, and there's so much happening with characters in the background, and it's just beautiful. I don't know. I'm talking in circles now, but it's worth it, and there's a lot of buzz about it right now, possibly being nominated for several Oscars, but it's don't miss it.
Yeah.
If you can't see it in the theater, it's probably still playing in a few.
Not near us.
No.
In Boston, I think it's playing in a couple, but.
If it's on Netflix, I'll do it.
It's on Netflix, but I would. It's that good. I would see it again in the theater if I could, even though it's streaming on Netflix. I want to see it in 70mm.
There's some things
corner
that
or something.
Are better.
It's one of those films that deserves that kind of viewing.
70mm is beautiful. So Hateful Eight, I saw.
So I want to end it on a high note with that.
Wonderful.
Awesome. So with that being said, this is our 2018 recap review. We hope it's better in 2009. Not that it was shitty in 2018, but we hope 2019 brings more movies, more opportunities, especially for independent filmmakers like some of us. Nathan didn't explain at the beginning. I forgot to mention who you are.
I wasn't even introduced. I just kind of
let me introduce you.
Hi, I'm Nathan.
What do you do?
I am a filmmaker. I will do a quick plug. I am in post on actually 2 feature films. One is Higher Methods, which started 2 years ago.
That's wild.
It's taken that long to get it right. We're still in post. We had a screening a few months ago, but we are still fixing up some things, and it's when we have a real like date where it's going to be in the festival or streaming somewhere, I'll be sure to let you guys know.
Yeah.
And of course, Sammy and Evan were big parts of the film as well. So
it's the first project I ever met both of you on, but it's the first time I ever met you.
First feature outside of the DP chair. Chair? No, never chair. I'm never in a chair. Why am I never in a chair on a DP set?
And there's another feature that I'm on post on called The Assassination of Western Civilization, which was shot all in a single take. Feature film shot in one take, which was stressful, and we shot it all basically in one weekend. We got it all done, so it's pretty remarkable, and I will get to that eventually. So that's what I do. I make movies.
Cool. So yeah, with that being said, let's turn it over to last plugs from Rob.
Same as always, like, rate, review, subscribe.
Yeah.
Sam?
Love us. Leave us comments, follow us, do all the things. Let us know what your favorites of 2018 were. And I'm excited for a lot of stuff in 2019. I hope everyone else is as well. There's a lot of things that I'm like pumped about. So better not disappoint me. That's it.
Nathan, anything to plug?
Well, I think I just did my plugging, but if you want to follow my films, you go on imfilmworks.com and you can see the projects I'm working on.
Yeah.
Cool. So thank you guys for tuning in to Brutally Honest Network. This is Brutally Honest Reviews. Thank you for tuning in. Next week, we have another review for you. Remember to tune in now on Mondays for our new podcast, Streaming for Gold, which is a podcast based on music reviews coming out from Spotify every week. We're throwing in a couple episodes in there that talk about various subjects with various musicians and artists. We also have a Game of Thrones show called Beyond the Wall coming soon, which Rob is going to be a part of.
Yeah.
And finally, we have a comedy pilot called Hotline that is starting to shoot in February, and that will be out sometime in the spring unless we sign a major contract, which we're trying to do, and then shoot the whole series for you to enjoy.
Yay.
So have fun, stay tuned, let us know what you think, and have a good week. Peace.
Bye.